As we transition to a hybrid model, there are a number of instructional supports and resources available to R7 teachers as you begin to plan. As a reminder, our in-person learners are divided into two groups for hybrid instruction. Students with last names A through K will attend school on Mondays and Tuesdays. Students with last names L through Z will learn in person on Thursdays and Fridays. All students will learn at home on Wednesdays. Regardless of their group, all students will learn the written curriculum at the established pace to achieve curricular goals. When students are at school, they are learning synchronously together. When students are at home, they are learning course content asynchronously, independently, within a general time frame established by the teacher. As we move into a hybrid platform, there are several best practices that will make this type of learning easier and more effective. First and foremost, consider establishing small anchor groups or support systems for students. In our hybrid structure, each group of students will only see a classroom teacher 2 days out of 7. Forming small groups to support each other while at home will not only anchor students to each other, but will also provide peer support for troubleshooting, problem solving, and clarifying expectations when a teacher is unavailable. It is also important that teachers leverage in-person instructional practices that make the most of limited face-to-face time. For example, direct instruction or lecture may be better delivered via a pre-recorded video, previewed by students before class, so class time is freed up to process and interact with the information. This gives teachers more opportunity to use those precious minutes to gauge student understanding. While in-class activities should be designed to provide as much feedback for teachers in that limited window of time, at-home learning should include checkpoints for teachers to get a pulse on where students are in their understanding before arriving at school for in-person learning. This will allow teachers to make adjustments to instruction if needed. To reduce confusion and to develop a flow for instruction, it will be important to establish and maintain a consistent routine. Pick a progression of learning that works best for your curricular area and stick with it throughout the unit. In addition, develop a user-friendly digital structure in Schoology for organizing and disseminating information and tasks for students. Routine 1, march together. One approach to structuring hybrid instruction is to march together as you maintain a normal schedule and pace. In this routine, both A and B groups learn the same content on the same day synchronously from the teacher on in-person days or asynchronously while at home. As you'll see, this routine probably mirrors a traditional school schedule more than any other. On Monday, learners in Group A will attend school in person, and the teacher will deliver instruction and check for understanding as they normally would. Meanwhile, Group B learners are tackling the same content and practicing the same skills asynchronously. For simplicity, we have called this Lesson 1. It's important to note that at-home learners will require some form of pre-recorded or pre-planned teacher instruction. This may be a recording of the teacher, it may be an instructional video on YouTube, it could even be a handout with written directions. This process looks the same on Tuesday. While you're likely assessing students in your classroom both Monday and Tuesday, your interaction with at-home learners will be limited. Special consideration should be made to collect some form of evidence from Group B. This would ideally be done late Tuesday, allowing you time and opportunity to review that information ahead of Thursday's instruction. On Wednesday, Both groups will learn at home. This may or may not include new content. Meanwhile, teachers will collaborate, hold office hours, and check in with students as directed by building principals. Thursday and Friday look the same, but the groups will switch. Group B will learn in person, while Group A learns the same content at home. Again, teachers will need to answer the question, am I confident that my at-home learners are right there with me? How do I know? Intentionally planning for evidence collection will be critical to maintaining the pace of instruction for all students. One other consideration, to maximize instructional minutes of face-to-face learning, teachers may consider flipping their instruction. If students are able to receive instruction prior to class, teachers may have more opportunity to gather information about student learning and provide feedback during that class time. Advantages and challenges for this routine include this routine closely mirrors traditional scheduling and curriculum pacing. It's only one schedule for a teacher to manage and only one grading group for a teacher to manage. Challenges might be that teachers have ongoing digital instruction, meaning they need to have pre-recorded teacher videos or digitized activities in Schoology for at-home learners to complete. Teachers also face a challenge of limited contact or office hours for at-home learners. This is why having an anchor group will be really important for a student to have someone else to seek clarification from when the teacher is not available. Now let's explore routine 2, marching in platoons. A second approach to structuring hybrid instruction is to march in platoons. In this routine, students receive direct instruction and support from the teacher during in-person learning days. Group A on Monday and Tuesday, Group B on Thursday and Friday. While at home, each group works through practice and extension activities independently. In this routine, teachers must think about the chunks of content students might be expected to master across 5 days of learning. On Monday, when Group A learns in person, teachers will provide condensed, strategic instruction on skills and content, collect enough evidence to affirm that students can work independently, and then launch meaningful tasks for learning at home. This group will then have the remainder of the week to complete assignments independently, asynchronously. Meanwhile, teachers will provide the same strategic condensed instruction for Group B on Thursdays and Friday. These students will complete the same set of learning tasks Monday through Wednesday of the next week. Again, it will be important for teachers to collect some evidence that students have progressed while learning at home. Collect evidence may simply mean collect and grade a homework assignment. But if there is nothing assigned for teacher review during the period of time a student is entirely at home, another form of evidence should be collected to ensure student understanding of content. The following week, the cycle repeats with Group A returning to school for the next progression of learning. Again, for those teachers interested in maximizing face-to-face time, you may investigate flipped instruction. Another important consideration regarding this routine is the transition of students to staggered learning groups does create a 2-day lag for Group B. On Monday and Tuesday, those students might work from a choice board, pursue a personal interest, work closely with course vocabulary, or read additional texts. Some advantages to this routine include less virtual direct instruction is required by the teacher. There may be less digitized materials as well, reducing tech burnout, as teachers can provide more paper in class for students to work from. Also, the teacher is able to repeat instruction. It's delivered once for Group A and then again for Group B. Challenges might include establishing staggered learning groups and the awkward transition from virtual to hybrid here in the beginning. This does create 2 schedules for a teacher to manage, as well as 2 grading groups. And again, teachers are faced with limited contact or office hours for at-home learners. The third and final routine is called March Individually. The third approach to structuring hybrid instruction is to march individually. In this routine, students work through a teacher-created set of tasks or playlists to learn, practice, and master curricular goals. Students work at their own pace, receiving support and guidance from the teacher during in-person learning days. In this routine, teachers create a list of learning tasks and built-in assessments for students to manage individually at their own pace. Both Group A and Group B progress through the same playlist with the same deadlines. On Monday and Tuesday, Group A students use in-person class time to work independently and with peers, interact with the teacher, ask questions, or possibly engage in hands-on learning as appropriate. On Thursday and Friday, Group B students do the same. On the remaining days, both groups continue to progress independently at home. While there are not explicit recommendations for evidence collection in this routine, the very nature of a playlist implies that formative assessment is built in and ongoing. Therefore, students are submitting evidence throughout the learning progression. This routine does require increased student autonomy and agency, but the flexible nature of self-paced learning will allow the teacher to engage more deeply with individual students on a regular basis. Some advantages include that pacing is individualized. There are more opportunities for teachers to respond to student needs during in-person learning, less daily planning, and ideal for hands-on learning that can be self-paced. Challenges include that this model requires significant advanced planning and resource creation. It does require a great deal of student autonomy and agency. There are multiple learning paths or paces for a teacher to manage, and students' need for teacher intervention may not coincide with in-person learning. Consider each of the 3 routines described in this video, along with guidelines provided by your building administrators, to determine which path makes the most sense for your students and your content area. In the LSR7 Professional Learning Schoology course, special considerations and additional resources are available to support teachers in implementing these routines. If you need assistance, please reach out to your curriculum specialist or department chair, your building ITS, or Sara Taylor for instructional support.